All right, hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a great Tuesday today. Thank you all so much for being here. Nice, already quite a lot of people. That's fun. All right. Post this and yep, everything's good. All right, great. So yep, basically I'm still doing some research on my upcoming Dots RTS game. So yeah, I've got a bunch of things that I want to research. Primarily doing animation and physics. Those are two things that I'm really trying to get to work in this prototype. So when will the course be done? Not sure. It depends a lot. It depends on how soon I can get this prototype finished. So first I got to get this fully done, and then I can start to plan out all the lectures, the whole thing for the entire course. So yeah, I don't know exactly when. Maybe by the middle of next month I should have a better idea. As for now, I am still very much just doing a ton of research. Like for example, for handling physics, this is something that I haven't yet. I mean, I've been using physics, which is actually pretty easy to do, but I haven't yet looked into collision events and trigger events. So this is actually something that I very much would like to research. Please research netcode for entities. Yeah, eventually afterwards. I mean, ideally I would like to make this course kind of what I did with Kitchen Chaos, which is make it a single player thing and then a second one turning it into multiplayer. I think that would be fun, but yeah, definitely netcode for entities still gonna take a little while until I actually have the time to research that, because yeah. Okay, so yeah, so basically let me look into, so basically doing some research live on stream, because I haven't yet looked into how to handle collision events. I've looked at the documentation over here, and it's actually, it seems like it's somewhat simple to do. So basically I can get the singleton for the simulation and then grab some kind of trigger events and then iterate through them, and apparently that will work. So that is kind of what I'm going to try to see how it works. So yeah, let's try doing that. So first I'm going to, first here is the current project right now. Already got quite a lot of mechanics. So I've got unit selection, so I can select a bunch of them, tell them where to move. There are different unity types. So this one is a unit kind of like this, and that little small one, that one moves quite a bit faster. Same thing for the enemies. They've got multiple enemies. Then the units, they also find and attack all kinds of things, and there is a health system. And the enemies are also patrolling around, so they patrol. The bullets go ahead, they shoot. The enemies also attack the player. And then I can also easily spawn some enemies, and I can spawn some barracks, and from those barracks I can spawn the building and start spawning some units. So that is also done. And I can start generating some resources, so I can place down buildings to generate some supposedly gold or wood. So already got quite a lot of things over here, but there's still quite a bit more that I still have left to do. So let's see. You feel with all your experience, you still often learn and have to look things up? Absolutely. I mean, especially when it's things that are new, like for example this, Dots. Dots is very much new to me, no matter how much experience I have. So yeah, I've definitely read a ton of the documentation over here on the physics package, on the normal Unity, on the entities package. Yeah, definitely reading a ton of documentation, doing a bunch of Googling, and just a ton of trial and error. Write some code, try to see if it works, doesn't work, try again. So yep, I'm definitely still looking things up, still learning. So yeah, that is one of those things that is very much a constant thing. So yeah, that is definitely perfectly normal. I have a question on .ccs. So you do on update to find all the entities that contain something and so on, and then execute code like follow the player. Yep. But is there a way to get a reference to a Boolean variable to check if the game is paused? Yes. I mean, first of all, you can mix between dots and game objects. So for example, where's my unit mover system? And this is throwing out this warning, which is very strange. So yeah, basically in dots, you've got an on update, then you do a for each. On that for each, you do some kind of system query, and you grab all the components that you want. So for example, this is the unit mover system. So this is the system that is actually moving all of the individual units. So I do a query in order to find the local transform. This one is basically the same as the transform component, so it has a position, rotation, and scale. Then I've got the target position. I made this custom component myself, just to have a movement speed and a target position. So that's the position where the unit should move to. And then the physics velocity. This one is part of the dots physics. And using that, I can basically set the velocity directly. So basically, I do a query to find all of those. I grab all of those components, and then using those over here, calculate the move direction. So just some super simple basic movement code. So just grab the target position and the current position to calculate the move direction. Then just set the physics velocity dot linear to that move direction multiplied by some kind of move speed, and then using physics, basically that's how it moves the unit. So in terms of updating, yeah, you can definitely have a boolean. So if you use burst, then inside of burst you cannot access other things, but you could very much write this code inside of a job, and you would have that job be bursted, but then over here on update, you would take away the burst compile, and over here you could access some kind of instance class just like you would on any normal C# code. So for example, I've got the game assets class, and this one is a standard mono behavior class, so you can access game objects and mono behavior things from inside the entities code, entities world. So you can do that. Well, ring trailer drop, is that true? Oh, that's nice. So yeah, you can access that, or alternatively, you can go, for example, from the system API in order to get the singleton. So you can create a singleton component, meaning a component of which there exists only one thing, and you can store some kind of boolean there, some kind of boolean flag for updating things or not, and you can do get singleton in order to find the component of that thing. So let's say if I only had a single target position, then this would get that target position, and then from that I could access some kind of field inside of it, which could be a boolean, and then depending on the value of that, run this for each or not. So yep, plenty of ways to do all kinds of those things. Changing mesh and material properties still look weak to me on dots. Yeah, those are definitely still complicated. That is something that I very much want to try out in this live stream, because yeah, I've managed to figure out the rough idea for how it works. And basically, you need the material mesh info. This is a built-in thing from the Unity rendering, and you can basically go inside it and modify the mesh ID. Now, that mesh ID, that is not an actual mesh reference. You have to basically register the mesh. So over here, I've got a bake component, which has a regular mesh. And then there's a dots component, which has a thing of type batch mesh ID. And then over here, I'm simply going through the entities graph system in order to register the mesh, which in turn returns this. And then on this system, I can use that field in order to modify the mesh. So this is how basically over here, there's this little character, it's being animated. This is a fully dots character. This is not a game object. So this, if I look inside of the runtime entities thing, yep, over there you can see, yep, it has the material mesh info, and you can see over here the mesh index. That one is modifying, that one is updating between 1 and 2. That is how this one is doing some slight animation. Just changing meshes, just changing between meshes in order to make some kind of animation. So that is the rough idea. How do you change the color of a 2D sprite of an entity? That's a good question, because I still haven't yet looked into much on using sprite renderer in dots. I do believe it does work. Like, I tried it and it seemed to work, but so far I've been using just 3D elements. So I'm not entirely sure, but so yeah, I would have to look into that. But if you're using a mesh, then I do believe on one of these you can modify the material the same way that you would modify a mesh. Unnecessarily complex. Yeah, right now for making animations inside of dots, it is definitely very complex, unnecessarily complex, which is why it's on their roadmap for the next thing to do, to actually have some built-in support for animations. But so far you have to either do it manually like this, or go on the asset store and pick up one of the several assets that already exist that handle the animations right away. And that is actually, and that should work quite well. I mean, if I wasn't making a course, if I was making this game just for myself, just making a game to put on Steam, just a normal, you talk like a machine gun. Am I talking too fast? So yeah, if I was making this game just for myself, I would definitely go into the asset store, pick up one of those assets in order to handle the dots animations. But since it's a course, on the course, I don't want the course to be dependent on third-party assets. So that is why in the course I'm going to teach how to make normal animation. And yep, so this is the main method that I'm going for. But anyways, before that, I really want to try this out, look into how to handle events. So let's see this. And actually right now, I think, actually I don't know if by default it is going to have some kind of thing, and a non-dots version of this. That is actually an interesting question. Maybe if I can find the time, I would like to basically remake the game using just game objects in order to see exactly what the difference is between dots and non-dots. That could be interesting, although it might also be a ton of work, so I'm not entirely sure, but it would definitely be a fun project. Okay, so let me create a new system. So test collisions system, something like this. And now inside of it, so I don't need the onCreate, I don't need that one and that one, okay. So now on the onUpdate, so basically I have to cycle through, what is it? Okay, I have to get the singleton of type simulation singleton. So in the system API, get singleton of type simulation singleton. And on this one, I call as simulation, which apparently returns a simulation, whatever that is. And then I can get collision events or trigger events. So let's get the trigger events. Okay, so this one, I believe it says that it's going to be a collection, which I then iterate through it. So on the trigger events, let me inspect this. It just has trigger events, but how do I... Okay, why is this commented? That's a good question. So is it enumerable? Or is it not enumerable? That's interesting. Why is this commented? Oh, do I go through the... and why is this commented? Okay, that's a bit strange. Firebase Google login system. I've never really used Firebase, so I don't really know how that works. But as far as I know, they have some really great docs, so I would definitely look into that, look into the docs to see how it works. Okay, so why is this one not... So if I try doing a for each on this one, for each trigger event in this, is this going to work? Okay, so I'm not entirely sure why this is working, or rather, I'm not entirely sure why over here, this one, the trigger events, why is this one commenting out the I enumerator? I have no idea, but okay, so if it works, then maybe it works. So let's do debug.log on this trigger event, and this trigger event has what? Oh, it's got the entities that were involved, the bodies, and so on. So just printing it out should print something. Just nope, I don't want that one. I want using Unity Engine. Okay, so doing a log, and basically if there is a trigger event, then that should mean well, I can join the live stream. Hey, welcome, Marisa. Yeah, it's definitely would like to have a more regular live stream schedule, but so far it is still very much random when it happens. Okay, why are you having burst invalid argument? Okay, I have no idea what that was, but okay, and is this debug.log just to make sure that this system is actually running, because I think right now it won't be running, but it's actually not going to have anything. Hey, huge fan. Hey, thanks. Thanks for watching the videos. I hope they've helped you quite a lot. Okay, so the system is working, but yep, there's nothing actually happening. All right, good. How do you record tutorial? I use OBS to record the screen, which the screen and the camera, actually, it all records the same thing. And yeah, which is actually a pretty awesome program, super easy to use. Okay, what do I want? So let me create a new 3D cube. Okay, let me put this one in authoring, and for this cube, I'm going to make it a trigger. And can I scale it? Will this actually scale? I assume so. Okay. So that one is basically going to be a trigger, and then can I create a new 3D object, a sphere? Logging is better than debugger in dots. Oh, interesting. I'm not familiar with Unity.logging. I'm using this just for testing, so I'm not too worried about performance. But what is Unity.logging? There's a logging package. Okay, I did not know about this. Is a versatile and highly configurable structured asynchronous logging solution. Okay, so it should be good for logging inside of bursted code, inside of jobs, I assume. Contains various ways to stream, record the logs onto all kinds of things. All right, good. The collection package and can be used without ECS. Okay, so that is actually interesting. I did not know about this. So yeah, thanks for the tip. I'll definitely look into it afterwards, because yeah, I imagine that when using tons of jobs, like so far I'm not using any jobs, so I'm not using anything too insanely complex, but yeah, when using jobs. Oh, that gifted memberships. I didn't know that YouTube had such a thing. All right, thanks so much, Snar, for the gifted memberships. Yeah, when was this added? Okay, I had no idea. That's the first time that I've seen that, but okay, so apparently a bunch of people get gifted. Oh, thanks so much, Snar, for the super chat and the gifted memberships. Okay, that is That's an interesting one. Yeah, I thought only Twitch had, because as far as I know, YouTube live streams are still very much behind in terms of having all kinds of features, but apparently it has gifted memberships. Okay, so that's fun. Yeah, thanks. That should be quite interesting. Okay, let me just add a rigid body just to make this one fall down. So now if I render, where's my sphere? And put the sphere right there. Let me actually change the material. Do I have my bullet material somewhere? My bullet material, just make it nice and visible. Okay, and make it quite a bit bigger. Okay, so let's see if the... Okay, it falls down and goes through it. Oh, right, because the bottom is not dots based. But yep, it did work. It did find a trigger event. All right, awesome. So that's apparently because it goes in, and yep, it does trigger a trigger event. All right, so right away, that is quite good. Recently started using Unity for a university project. Your tutorials have been a lifesaver. Nice. Maybe I'll start making projects of my own too. Yeah, definitely go for it. That's awesome. Yeah, great job on starting your learning journey. Yeah, now just continue and keep at it. Keep on learning. Need for lessons on marketing. Nice. Yeah, marketing. That's one of those things extremely important and extremely difficult. So yeah. Where was I? I'm too following the route of a game dev who makes lots of small games instead of dream games, and that really helps. Nice. Obrigado por também. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely making small games, making multiple games helps you quite a lot in being able to learn a ton of things, not just marketing but everything. But yeah, in terms of marketing is one of those things that is definitely really tricky. It is something that I amaze myself at how much I did not know, like when I started making games on Steam, which, to be fair, back then in 2013 there wasn't necessarily as much competition as there is nowadays. So back then, for the first few games that I did, I could get away with not knowing much about marketing. But yeah, since then I definitely have had to learn quite a lot, and yeah, it is something very important. So yeah, definitely keep on learning that, because yeah, marketing is indeed quite important. Okay, so let me just see this. Thing. Oh, Snarf, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Although it's kind of strange how you gifted memberships, but apparently it doesn't give yourself one. That's a bit odd. So it like gifts 5 memberships, but you yourself don't keep one of those. I would have assumed that if someone gifts some memberships, the system would first give that person the membership before giving someone else. But okay, I wonder if that's different from how it is on Twitch. So that's definitely an interesting thing. So, but yeah, thanks so much for the... Isn't it NTB? It isn't. Oh, I forgot the plus. So yeah, thanks so much. That is nice. Okay, so just verifying that this is indeed working, which I believe it is working. So let me go, and that one falls down and touches, and as soon as it touches, yep, got a collision between 381 and 382. And if I go and I see the cube and the sphere, let's see which one this is. So go inside of runtime, and this one is 382, and sphere, yep, it is 381. All right, awesome. So the collision is indeed working. So basically this is how you test for collisions, which is actually really surprisingly simple. Yeah, I thought handling collisions would have been quite... It's up to you on my other account by 1 byte. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I thought collisions would be quite difficult, but apparently not. Apparently it's literally just one line of code. Although if you want to make it super fast, then yeah, they recommend over here. Oh, where did I click? They recommend over here that you should be using a collision event job or a trigger event job. But for simple things, actually this is surprisingly easy. So yeah, there you go. That's collisions. Surprisingly easy. Let me actually just copy paste this code for my own notes, because I was working on making a video talking about the basics of dots physics. So let me just copy paste this code on there just so I remember just how easy it is. Although it does have one issue, which is how, since dots physics is stateless, meaning it has no state, that is why this one over here, this trigger event, doesn't actually contain that much information. So it has the event data. I wonder what that is. I wonder why I can't access it. But yeah, so this one has an entity, another entity, a body, another body, so collider keys and so on. But yeah, it doesn't have anything to say, okay, this is an on-trigger enter or on-trigger exit event or on-trigger stay. It doesn't mention any of that, so it's just a trigger event, and that is all the information you get. So you basically need to, and I actually I was watching this super useful video actually by Unity Japan, which is quite surprising how Unity has a Japanese channel, which is separate. It's presented by Keijiro, who makes some really great videos. And it's all subtitled, so actually if you want to learn Unity, I can also say this channel is really awesome. So on this one, yeah, talking about how to do, because you mentioned over here there was a helper function of something. You get singleton, get the objects. Yeah, so basically teaching how to make the things. So oh, another another thing. Oh boy, way too many tabs. Yeah, Babylon Byte, thanks so much. Let's do another gift. Ah, thank you. Thanks so much. That is really nice. Holy moly, white ID. Yep, my brain only works on the, or rather my eyes only work on the white ID. So if I try to look at dark mode, I very quickly get very messed up, get massive headaches. So yep, for me it has to be. Okay, so I think it's at the stateful trigger event authoring, which apparently, I don't know if that's a built-in thing or if that is something that flashbang for some of us. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I wish I could make it different for myself and for you, but nope. Sorry for the spam. Not spam at all. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope my videos have helped you quite a lot. So yeah, thanks so much. What was the component? Let me just see if this one does work. Stateful trigger event authoring. Although I think this one stateful, yeah, it doesn't have here. So I think this one is on the official dot samples. So I have to look into those in order to look at these helper functions, because these do seem to be quite useful. So let's see. I think it is a trigger state collision saved by default. Yep, that is correct. So basically over here, the collision, this one is going to fire for as long as the trigger is happening. So, but yeah, you can't. Yeah, you need to handle something in order to figure out, okay, this just started, so this is an enter, this just ended, so it's an exit, and so on. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, those helper functions are probably going to be very useful, so I definitely have to look into the sample project in order to see that. But yeah, just by default, I'm surprised at how easy it is to listen to collision events. Just a simple system, a simple for each, that actually works, so that's nice. How do you record? Do you speak and record at the same time, or first record and speak? I record and speak at the same time. So first I write the entire script for the video, tutorial, whatever it is. I write the entire script, then I have the script over here on my second monitor, and I'm recording the main monitor as I'm reading the script, doing the tutorial, while also maybe having the camera on and so on. So yeah, basically do a ton of work beforehand, and then for recording, just press record, read the script, do the thing, and yep, that's kind of how it goes. Unity Japan channel is even better than the official Unity. Yeah, it does have a lot of really awesome things. It's quite it's quite surprising how this is a separate channel. I mean, it makes sense because it's in Japanese, but it all has excellent subtitles. So yeah, I'm guessing many people do not know that this channel exists, but yeah, I'll recommend you look into it, because they do have some really awesome tutorials, lots of things, and it's all nicely subtitled. So yeah, really great learning channel. Has quite a lot more learning things than the normal thing. Dots is so difficult, yes or no? It's a different type of thinking, but once you start thinking in a different way, it is not necessarily that much more difficult. So you have to switch your brain in thinking a different way. But once you understand how all the syntax works, doing a simple query or accessing singletons, queries on the system API, and so on, a lot of the things are actually relatively simple. So yeah. Okay. Wow, another 5 gifts. Oh, wow. So it went from not knowing this feature existed to all of a sudden being used 3 times during one's live stream. So so thank you, Majid. Thanks so much. It's actually really funny because yeah, I did not know that this was a thing that existed. So yeah, thanks so much, Babylon Byte, Majid. Thanks to all of you. This has definitely been quite fun. Yeah, Majid, thank you. Nice. I don't like read documentation, just focus in general. I have ADHD, not to correct myself, but it's difficult to be able to read documentation or guide. ChatGPT is a blessing. I mean, to that, I would say whatever helps you. So if you prefer using ChatGPT and if you find that that helps, absolutely go ahead and use that. I mean, me personally, the main way that I like to learn is by watching videos, which is probably obvious given the fact that I make tutorial videos. Basically, that is the way that I like to learn. So the first thing I do whenever I go to learn something, I go on YouTube, I find all kinds of videos, tutorials to teach whatever it is that I'm trying to learn. However, when it comes to things like this, dots, there's really not that much educational content around. Or rather, the things that exist, they are a bit outdated. So I do still watch those, but then I've got to go read the entire documentation in order to figure out how it all works. Which thankfully, Unity actually does have pretty good documentation. So over here, the physics package, this one is actually surprisingly good, and same thing for the Unity entities package. That one also has a really great, so you go up here, put in version 1.2, and yep, this one has a getting started guide. It has all kinds of things, how to install all of the various things, all of the concepts for how everything works. So the documentation is actually surprisingly in-depth, very detailed. So but yeah, definitely I also very much prefer watching a video as opposed to reading just documentation. But if there are no videos, then it has to be documentation. So it's a little bit more difficult, but you can definitely do it. Are you able to make a guide video on how to do your research? It's a good question, but I think that would be a tricky thing to put on a video. I mean, how do you do my research is definitely what I'm doing right now, which is I look at documentation, I try to read the syntax, then I go into Unity project, start writing down some code, and figure out how it works. So that is roughly how I do it. But yeah, doing a video just on that, it's one of those things that is quite tricky to make into a video. But in terms of how I learn, yeah, that's pretty much it. Read documentation, write some code, go back and forth, and so on. Yeah. I guess it feels like there's a cheat code. I mean, there's really not. It's one of those things where the main thing is really just experience. So the more things you make, the more time you spend making things, the easier it becomes to learn new things. So by now, I've already learned many new things. I've made many games. So anytime that I'm doing something new, it's just basically doing the same thing that I've already done many times when I've learned many other things. So yeah, at some point, learning also becomes a skill that you also can get quite a bit better at. Okay, let me just try to see. Okay, that one. So basically, the defense is working. Okay, let me just try to let me think for a little bit on how I'm going to handle the thing. Oh, 5 more gifted. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks. I hope my answers have helped you. That's still missing key features such as animation, particles, etc. I actually think particles are super. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. But yeah, animations doesn't. When someone have an idea about a game and has so many objects and that objects have so many animations and particles, can it be done? Yes, it can be done. And like I was saying a while ago, so for this course, I'm going to implement a simple animation system, which is exactly what I have here. So it's all based on very low frame rate, just swapping meshes back and forth. So basically before, a while ago, when I was doing some research, I baked a bunch of meshes. So there it is. So instead of having a skin mesh renderer that moves the bones and modifies all kinds of things, instead I baked those animations, I baked them into meshes. So now for handling the animation, basically what I'm going to do is just swap out the meshes between the various entities. But if I wasn't doing this for a course, then assetstore.unity.com. If I was making this for a course, if I was making it for my own game, ECS animation, there's a bunch of really awesome animation systems. These are based on GPU. So basically they render the skin mesh render, all of those vertex positions, they render those onto a texture and then use that texture with a custom shader in order to read the texture and modify the vertices to actually trigger the animation. Oh crap, cooking settings. So yeah, basically if I wasn't making this for the course, then this is exactly what I would do. Use one of these systems which already works quite well. But in order for the course to not be dependent on third-party assets, over here I'm going to do something very simple, just based on swapping meshes. Okay, so let me try to figure out how am I going to implement this. Okay, so because I was making a test animation, so thanks so much, Majin. So basically I already had this one where I baked a bunch of meshes. Now the question is going to be, how do I store them? One really tricky thing about dots is how you can't really have lists, because lists are lists don't have a fixed size, whereas in dots you can have dynamic buffers, but I don't think a dynamic buffer of a mesh would work well. So I think vertex animation textures, better option if looking for performant AI. Vertex animation, that is exactly how those assets works. They render the thing onto a, I don't think it shows here. Yeah, basically they render it onto a texture, and then the texture does some vertex animation in order to move the vertices, and that's how it moves. So yeah, that is how that one managed to be quite good. Blob asset reference. Yeah, I don't think storing a mesh in a blob asset. Okay, I think maybe this one of those scenarios where I'm overthinking things a little bit. So I'm going to, hey, channel member. Hey, Alex. Hey, thanks so much for becoming channel member. Okay, so let me try to think for a little bit. Okay, I think I'm just going to make some okay, cool. There's Unity sample code about skin mesh animating. Oh, is there? Oh, I did not know. The background dog is made by dogs. Yes, it's my dog walking around on this floor. He makes quite a bit of noise. We're still working on the console version of Dinky Gardens. That's my plan, but yeah, right now definitely on pause. So yeah, I was planning to work on that after finishing the C# course, but in the time between that, Unity 6 preview came out, so I started working on this. So yeah, very much still want to do it, but yeah, it's tricky. So many things that I want to do. Okay, so I think I'm going to simply just have a fields for everything. I think that is going to be the simplest thing. So, well, for example, let me put marine idle 0, then marine idle 1, and then I'm going to have, yeah, let's just say the walk, marine walk 0. I think it has 1, 2, 3, just 3. Okay, so now up here, let me do all those. So I've got marine idle 0, idle 1, marine walk 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now here, let me put all those. So the idle 1, then the walk 0, walk 1. So basically this is rendering now, registering all of the meshes with the render system. Okay, so now, so basically this one stores, okay, let me think. So basically I need to keep track of the current frame that I'm playing, the current animation as well. So I need some kind of enum for the animation type. So let's say marine idle and marine walk. Okay, so I need that. And then I need a float for the animation timer, something like that. Then some animation timer max in order to know when to swap to the next frame. And then I need an int for the current frame. And then I'm going to need some kind of function in order to get the next frame, which I shouldn't be putting logic in this, so I'm going to have to refactor this afterwards, because and let me store the public animation type. So I store the animation type, I store the current frame, the timer, which I'm going to increase, and the timer max, and so on. So basically this one is going to set, and it's going to, so let's say for example I just need to set the timer max, and let's say at 0.5. So basically every 0.5 seconds it is supposed to swap out. And for the animation type, for this one, let's put on the marine idle. Okay, so let me think. Okay, so basically I've got a type, so I know which animation I'm supposed to. Yeah, basically I'm going to need some kind of platform as did me. Sorry, I'm trying to focus, so I'm not reading much of chat right now. What platform will the RTS course? It will be on my own website, because I'm going to try to do, basically make the course a normal paid premium course, but then also have a free version on YouTube with, like, I don't know, the first half of the course, something like that. So yeah, in order to do that kind of special thing, yeah, it has to be just on my website, because Udemy does not allow making a free version and a paid version at the same time. So in order to do something like that, yeah, it's basically going to be on my website with a free version over here, which should be, hopefully should allow lots of people to learn quite a lot. Okay, let me just okay, so I've got the animation tab, so I know that I'm running this animation. I know basically I need to get what is the next frame, but I don't think so I'm trying to think, do I put this inside a scriptable object? Because a scriptable object could hold the various... Okay, anyways, maybe I think I'm... No, because the issue is, because I've got the... Okay, now this is... Okay, I think I'm thinking way too far ahead. I think I'm just going to have a bunch of ifs and then see how it goes. So anyways, okay, so on this one, let me get rid of my testing code for isMesh1, the timer, and so on. Okay, and for the timer is not going to be that. So the animate test, let me grab it with a refrw so that I can actually write onto it. Okay, so I've got that one. Good. And so I'm going to go into the animate test, and let me grab the value RW, grab the timer minus or was equals, go up, time, no, not time, system API dot time dot delta time. Okay, so increase it by time. And if this one, if it is above the animation timer max, if so, then let's count it down. So on this one, minus equals the animation timer max. Okay, loop back the time and then modify the mesh. So now here's when I have to do the tricky thing is that over here I have to do a switch, go inside of that one, go inside the value RO, just read in order to grab the animation type, and then I do a case I'm on marine idle. If I am on marine idle, then I basically want to get the next. So I guess I can go into this one, dot the current frame, and I can do current frame plus plus, okay, which I really like this, it should work. Okay, so I grab that one, but now I need to know the frame max. Okay, so int frame max, so that one has 2, so then I have to set this one equals this one, remainder of the frame max. No, not that. Oh crap, I declared it over here. No, I got the int frame max equals 0. Let me put a default on this one and put the frame max equals 2. Okay. So counting up the timer, okay, when it goes past the maximum, reset the timer, okay, then increase the next frame and then go back to that. But now over here, I need another switch. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need to rethink this code quite a lot, because yeah, I don't want to have tons of switches. This definitely not looking very good. But so then over here I can do a switch on the animate test.value RO. Let's grab the current frame. In case I'm on frame 0, then over here I'm going to set this guy. So I'm going to set that one, animate test, let's grab for the marine idle 0. Do that one, do a break, and case on 1, then I'm going to grab that one like that. Okay, so I think like this it should work. Okay, I think like this it should work. So basically I'm grabbing all of those, I'm increasing the timer. Okay, when it goes above, I reset the timer, I increase the current frame, then I grab the remainder in order to make sure it never goes above, and then I do a thing, let me just do a default just to be safe, and basically goes onto that one or that one. Okay, so I think like this it should work. I can live with a white theme. That is because the dark mode burns my eyes. So the same way that I'm assuming, like you are saying, I'm assuming you are the kind of person who cannot live with white theme. Well, I'm the same way, just the other way around. I cannot live with dark mode. Right, so let's put both of those, and that should trigger, which should make this guy do. All right, good, awesome. So So basically just spent a bunch of time in order to get the exact same result. So the same character is still animating. Okay, good. But now that I've done that, now I can basically continue doing the exact same thing. Oh, but yeah, I'm really going to need to refactor this code, otherwise it's going to be a huge mess. Because yeah, then I've got to do a switch on the animate test. Let's grab the value RO, let's grab the current frame, and we default do a case 0, and in case it is on 0, then I have to go into that one, and over here, grab the marine walk 0. Case 1, 2, and 3, then pick up that 1, 2, and 3, and 3, and 2, and 1. And then up here on this one, so this one has 4 animations, so if I go in the marine walk, this one has 4 frames. Alright, awesome. That's cool. Someone asking if we're going to release Total War Liberation. That is my goal, is to get back to that game on the second half of this year. So I don't know, around September, October, that's kind of my goal. Around that time, go back into that game, because I really enjoy it. I really... I still love the idea behind that game. It is something that I want to do. So yeah, right now the goal, the plan is to get back to it on the second half of this year, and hopefully it should be fun. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe by this time next year? No, I think that's a bit too early. I was gonna say by this time next year, maybe it will be out, but if I get back to it in September, probably not going to be done by May. So maybe about like, I don't know, June, August of next year, maybe something like that, it might be out. So that could be fun. Okay, I just need to expose the other thing. So on this one up here, let me make a public animate test dot animation type, and then I've just got to, oh yeah, make that one with the authoring dot the animation type. Okay. Where was I? Sorry, so many comments that I'm trying to. Oh, and the new member. Hey, thanks so much. SVPED. AceVPetD. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm trying to do work whilst trying to read questions at the same time is a little bit tricky. And did the unit just vanish, or did yeah, I'm just on the other way around. Okay, so let me just a quick test. So if I go there, I swap that one into marine walk, and now, nice. All right, it does seem to work. So there you go. That's the walk animation, which I believe it is working correctly. Yeah, it's a very janky walk animation, so I definitely need to make it a little bit faster just to make it look a little bit better. But yeah, the logic does work. So let me try making it just a little bit faster. So maybe just 0.2. So maybe just run at 5 frames per second, and it should look a little bit nice. But yeah, it's always awesome to write brand new code and see how everything works. It's changing the legs, right? Yes, it is. It just looks a bit odd since it's all in, but yeah, it is using left, right. So yeah, does work. There you go. Some nice dots animation. And if I just, well, actually, if I swap this one, it won't change, but can I modify it over here? Okay, modify it into the idle. There you go, on the idle animation. Nice. So yeah, here's a nice animation system. So by swapping out this enum, all of a sudden it is going between that one. Okay, so now that one, the idle is too fast. But yeah, but it is swapping from that one and that one. Okay. What are the specs of your PC? That's a good question. I don't know, because it's been a long time since I've bought it. It's the... I don't know, it's an AMD CPU. Sorry, I don't remember. It's been like, this PC is like 5 years old. Still awesome though. So yeah, and the graphics card is a 3080, I think. So that one is pretty good. That one was 3080 or 2080. I don't know, but the graphics card was very expensive at the time, so that was definitely quite tricky. Did you use OBS for streaming live? Yep, I'm using OBS right now. It is really awesome. It gets the camera input. It gets the screen view. So yep, I use OBS both for recording and for doing live streams. So that's really awesome. Sorry to ask again, if vertex animation textures are good, is it still worth to dots if it's only animation performance? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, vertex animations, do you mean for skin mesh renders? Because if you use a skin mesh render, you are still going to use game objects, and if you use game objects, you are still going to have some limitations as to how many units you can have on screen. So if you are rendering a You got a 3090. Yeah, I think that's right. How do you know better than me? I don't know. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I do have a 3090. I get confused. So yeah, basically if you use vertex animations with textures, it will be very fast for the animation, but if the whole thing is still based on game objects, you are still going to have some limitations there. Not as much as if you were using normal skin mesh renders, but you are still going to have some limitations for using game objects as opposed to doing everything dots based. So if you want to push the unit amount to the absolute max, then yeah, it does help for everything to be based on dots. Can I ask if it's possible to use your utils in published games, and also if there's any existing videos on utils? Yep, definitely go ahead and use the utilities or any code in any of my tutorials in your own games, free or commercial, doesn't matter. I hope they help you a lot. And yeah, I don't have anything that is too explanatory on it, but the utilities, they do have quite a lot of comments on the various classes. So if you just explore all those functions, hopefully they should be well named so that you can easily understand what they're all doing. Sorry, so many questions. I'm trying to keep up. Does that support Unity visual scripting? I mean, visual scripting can work with any kind of code. You can use visual scripting, interact with any kind of C# class. So in that way, you can kind of do it, but visual scripting is very much based on objects. So I'm not sure you can do much visual scripting plus entities by itself, but you could definitely have some in-between C# classes where the visual scripting interacts with that C# class, which in turn interacts with ECS swirl. So that can work quite, that can be one option. But at that time, if you're doing that, might as well just be better just to use code by itself. So I'm not too sure. Okay, so let me just let me try to apply this animation system to all of my characters. So if I grab one of my units, so let me remember, what do I need to make this work? And I'm pretty sure that all I need is just a mesh filter, a mesh render, and this component. Okay, so actually, if I copy this component, okay, now I'm trying to think, because on this one, if I go inside my unit, I've got a capsule. Okay, let me make just a, well, let me actually just duplicate the capsule, animated mesh, and on this one, let me just attach the component. Is this it? If I do this, will this work? That's a good question. I don't know. So on the capsule, let me modify this. Let me put a cube, just make sure that it's not running the capsule. Okay, so it's running a cube, but this cube should then swap out. And let's see. And yeah, but this work. All right, awesome. So obviously need a bunch of things, but yeah, the logic does work. Okay, so let me see how much it weighs. Oh no, it's the animated mesh that I moved it upwards. Okay, so I gotta move it, well, not move it down, I gotta put it on 0, 0. Okay, so let me just, oh, did I move this one? Did this apply an override? Oh, it did. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, move it back. Okay, good. Let me go inside the prefab, open the prefab, and on this one, let's put it on 0. And let me actually put the other mesh, so the marine idle. And all I'm missing is just the material. So let me go ahead and grab the material. So just copy this material, go onto that one, go inside the prefab and on the animated mesh and paste the material, and let's put it like this. And there you go. Now all of them have that, and all of them are wonking, and all of them are still units, so everything is on work. Okay, so I gotta play around with the orientation. And yeah, then I just have to modify that that enum to make it work. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, animations are roughly working, so that's awesome. That is cool. Okay. Sorry, weird question, but did you share a computer with someone when you were young? Technically, yes. I mean, back when I was very young, when I was like 10 years old, I had a brother and we only had one computer, so I guess so. Although my brother was more outgoing, so I had a lot of time just in the computer by myself. And then later on, we had two computers. So yeah, I guess in the beginning we had a little bit. How do you do the unit selection in dots? The answer is actually, initially I started doing a physics query in order to do what do you call it, a box cast, a overlap box on the world. But then I figured out that there's actually one interesting thing. So Oh, and I didn't notice a new member queued. So thanks again, Ace V Pet D. Thanks so much. And you remember the Quacks. Yeah, thanks so much. What was I saying? Oh, right. So initially I was actually doing a box cast. So as I was moving this, if you saw the first live stream that I did on this project, you will have seen that. So as I was doing the selection, it was actually placing and moving a cube directly inside the 3D scene. But if the camera is slightly rotated, then that doesn't actually work. Because if I was making a cube from here to here, it would actually be kind of like this at an angle and would not actually hit the positions as it should be. So basically for the unit selection, I had to basically just do this little square. All of this is handled on the UI itself. And then for the logic, so on the, what did I call it? The unit selection manager. Not this one, the unit selection manager. Okay, so basically on this one, so I've got, basically I get the mouse down, the mouse up, and I get the mouse screen position. That is the important thing. It is the screen position, not the world position. And then basically I calculate a rectangle. So using the screen lower left corner and the upper right corner in order to calculate the selection rectangle. And then I, instead of doing a physics query, instead of that, where is it? That's the movement. And for the selection, where's the, right, here it is. So for selecting multiple units, basically I find the units that have a friendly component. So this is actually one thing that I still probably have to figure out some optimization, because over here it is basically just going through all the units that can be selected and then simply does a world to screen point. So basically converts their world coordinates into screen coordinates and then checks if those screen coordinates are within that selection rectangle. And if so, then select this unit, and if not, then don't select it. So yeah, that is one example of something that I started off with an interesting approach, then realized that approach did not work, and then had to come up with something different. So yep, that is how it works right now. So make a square, and yep, I can select all the units, and all of those that are inside the square get selected, and the ones outside do not. So yep, that was an interesting thing that took a bunch of iterations in order to make it work, but now it is working quite well. Physics query is so bad, I implement my own KD3 and end up being 1,000 times faster. Isn't? I haven't done any performance tests, so yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to take this when this project is done. I'm very curious to just grab the number of units, multiply it by 100, and see does it work with like 1,000 units or not. So I'm very curious to see that. Why Unity dots showing some errors? I don't know. That depends on what kind of errors you're getting. Like over here, I'm not getting any errors, so it all depends on what you're having. Can you check MXM package on the Unity asset store and tell me, is this possible without that package? I'm not sure what MXM means, so I don't know. What is MXM? Motion matching? Is that what you mean? If you're asking, does Unity support motion matching by default? It doesn't. So yeah, if you're looking for that, then there are a bunch of assets on the store that can be quite helpful for that. Top 5 books I must read to improve my programming skills. Like the main one that I've recommended many times is Code Complete 2. I highly recommend this book. It is really big, really thick. Let me pick it up. It's a super thick book, but it does... Oh, there you go. So yeah, super thick book, about 800 pages long. A lot of code, a lot of text, a lot of stuff. So it does take quite a while to get through it. But if you do get through it, your skills as a programmer are going to improve tenfold. So yeah, super thick, definitely going to take you a while to get through, but I highly recommend this book. I definitely attribute to this book the most of the skills that I have in terms of specifically writing good, clean code. So yeah, I highly recommend if you want to improve your own programming skills, definitely look into this book. I can highly recommend it. By the way, I'm not sponsored. I just love that book. It has helped me a lot, so I will definitely always point out that book because it does help. But I'm going to leave to Godot later. I would love to try out Godot at some point, but leave, not really. I mean, I've got my, I don't know, 12 years with Unity at this point, so that is quite a lot of experience gain. I mean, you always gain quite a lot of knowledge, extra knowledge, by sticking with one tool for a long time, as opposed to just jumping back and forth. So yeah, I definitely would love to try out Godot, but no, not going to, not really going to switch thing. Code complete versus clean code, are they both useful, or is the just code complete is... clean code is also good. I also remember that I enjoyed, not as much, but I found that clean code was a bit less in depth, a bit smaller. So if you want something to read a bit faster, then yeah, I guess that one could be good, because you can get through that one much quicker than you can get through this one. So yeah, both are really good. On an infinite enough timeline, I would definitely encourage you to read both of them. But yeah, if you can only pick one, I would pick Code Complete. But yeah, Clean Code is also really good. It's a bit smaller, so you can get through it a little bit easier, which can also help, can also be nice. Is there a good beginner tutorial for dots? Apparently many tutorials are out of date. I would point you to my tutorial that I made like 2 months ago, and it is still very much up to date. I mean, I rewatched my own tutorial to get back into the mindset of dots, to focus on regaining the skills in order to be able to make this project. So yep, definitely go and look at that video. It's pretty long, it's an hour and a half, so it does cover quite a lot of things, and yep, pretty much all of it is still up to date. So this one over here, I was using version 1.0, whereas now there's version 1.2. There are a few different things, but for the most part, they're very much the same thing. Does Code Complete have a lot of fillers? Is it filled with fluff, or does it jump in? Nope, it just jumps in right away, so there's really no fluff. There's it's a very, very technical book. It is very much not a book to read for enjoyment, I guess. It is something to read just for learning, and yeah, it definitely... So yeah, no filler, just all excellent content, excellent information. All right, so let me just try handling the rotation, because I actually don't know exactly how I can handle the rotation. So I assume that is going to be on the local transform. Yeah, because over here I'm setting the rotation to the identity, but quaternions are always tricky. How do I get the... Is it local rotation? Okay, maybe with local rotation it might work. Takes a forward and an up. Does float 3 have... It doesn't. So I need to do a new float 3 for the up. So up will be 0, 1, 0. Sets the up, and then the move there, this will be the forward. Okay, so let's see if just like this, if it does work. Let's try it out. Property affiliate link to Amazon. I don't have an affiliate link for Amazon, sorry. So yeah, just go ahead and pick it up. It's definitely really awesome. So yeah, I think this is Amazon.com. So yeah, if you want to pick it up, I really highly encourage you. It definitely... Keep in mind, it's a thick book, so like 800 pages, so it takes a while, but yep, definitely, if you manage to go through it and you understand it, it will definitely level up your skills 10x. So yeah, that's what happened to me, so that is why I highly recommend it. I read this book when I was in the... Is there an error? Sometimes Dots has some strange errors, but then it clicks. Oh boy, there you go. What happened? Okay. Assertion failed. Distance for sort... What in the world? Okay, I have no idea. Okay, so apparently I can't do this. Why can't I do a local rotation? What does this... Okay, let me try doing a debug.log on this one. Try to see what this one says. Over here, quaternion.identity. Okay, let's see what this one is going to say. How to buy that book in India? I don't know. Doesn't Amazon have an Indian pay? Oh, Nan. Why is it Nan? Oh, maybe it's a 0? Is it 0? Why on earth is the... Because I'm guessing local rotation actually has the rotation. Control debugging with debug.log. Yep. Debug.log. Doing all kinds of logs. It is also really awesome. Okay, so that's the... Oh, right, because they're static by default. All right. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know that I had to make a if. Okay, so sure, fine, I guess. So if, oh yeah, right, and I also have to, this is going to move quickly, so then I have to do an alert, but anyways. So if move dir equals float 3.0, if so, then let's set this one into quaternion.identity, okay? And if not, wait, can't I do an equals on that? If not, then do that. Can't I do an equals on that? A bool 3? What on earth is a bool 3? Okay, that's the first time that I'm seeing this. What on earth is a bool 3? Oh, does it compare all three of them? Well, that's interesting. And look at that, I just learned something new. Apparently there is something called a Boolean 3, which I'm guessing it is going to compare x with x and set that one to true, y to y, set that one to true, and oh, that is interesting. I mean, it's not what I want, but yeah, that is interesting. So how do I, can't I get just a Boolean out of this? No, oh boy, this is a giant class. Okay. Huh. You have to compare with equals. Yeah, I guess so. I'm guessing there has to be a better way of doing that. Can I do this one dot equals? Will this one, yeah, I guess this one will test that one. But yeah, I had no idea there was such a thing as a Boolean 3, so I'm guessing this one is going to, yeah, test the x, y, and z. So yeah, look at that. That is fun. So there is such a thing as a Boolean 3. Who knew? I wonder where that is useful. I guess it's just, I guess if you want to do comparisons, basically it's easier to compare all three values and set all three values as opposed to just one by one. Oh, anyways, okay, so that is fun. Well, our float 4 equal, yeah, basically just testing each of them by themselves. So yeah, it must be very optimized for all kinds of things, but okay, look at that, it works. And now the unit, yeah, I still need to make the still need to do the one on that. Try math.all. Oh, does that exist? Look at that. Yeah, I still have to handle the stopping logic because they're basically just jumping back and forth between. But yeah, the logic works. I go up here, I click there, and there you go. He does rotate like that, and does rotate on that side, and on that side, and on that side. Nice. All right, that's cool. That works. See, it's always awesome when something like that works. So let's see, the math.all. Okay, so this one is going to do a Boolean, and yeah, it's going to return that one, and so on, and it's all massively inline. So now I wonder, which one is faster? Is it doing the equals, getting the bool 3, and then doing equals, or just this equals? I'm guessing this equals is going to be fast, but yeah, it's there are so many math functions that I have no idea how it works. It's actually quite fun. I have two dogs. What are their names? So the brown one, his name is Tiku, and her name is Tekka. And they're both asleep right now. I gotta get a second camera. Would be nice to have like a dog camera because they're right over there. So it would be nice to have a camera here pointing there. Would be fun. So yeah, I gotta gotta pick up a second camera because that would be fun. Okay. All right. So yeah, so this is working, but it has two problems. So the first problem is that they get there and they don't stop. And can I actually? Well, I guess I can modify it over. Do I test here? That's a good question. I guess I can check if this one dot magnitude. Oh, it does not have a magnitude. Okay, I thought it did. Does it have a size? Nope. Huh. So float 3 doesn't have magnitude, doesn't have size. Nope, just has a ton of XY. Oh, I think it's on math. I keep forgetting. Oh, does it have length? Nope, apparently not. But yeah, I do think that math.magnitude or size length. Okay, math does have length. Length of the move there. So float reach target distance, let's say 0.5 units. That should be fine enough. So if that one is too far, if so, then move closer. And if not, then do something, but always put the angular velocity on 0. Because I don't want brilliant chat plugin. Yeah, asking questions in live chat is actually super useful. Okay, so get the move direction, and if it is still too far, then move closer. If it is not, then let me just set this one into, no, not here, this one into a float 3.0. So basically it stops moving and stops rotating. Okay, so actually I think like this, it should stop and no longer do all of this crazy thing. Let's try it out and see. You have troubles in 6 with baking? Not really. I haven't had any issues. So I don't know what problems you're referring to, but yeah, it's okay, go there. Nice. Okay, so now I just need to modify the thing and it should work. But yeah, I can select my units, move them around, and they rotate correctly. So just need to swap the animations. But yep, they go on all over the place. Now just need to animate it, and as soon as they get there, they no longer constantly jump back and forth. They get there and stop. Oh, math.up, does that exist? Because I tried looking at float3.up and it did not exist. Math.up. Okay, there you go. It does work. Oh, this is a function? That's a bit confusing. I gotta say, one thing that I dislike is how the math library over here, this one, does not follow the normal rules. Like, why is the class name lowercase? Why is this one lowercase? But apparently it's a function. So that is one thing that drives me crazy. But from what I understood, I believe they did it because all of the other ECS-based math libraries, all of those super fast math libraries, they were based on, they basically use this naming rules. But so I can understand why they chose it, but I still dislike it. Still looks very strange. But anyways, so yeah, I'm guessing this one does return. Oh crap, and I still haven't figured out why it is that sometimes Visual Studio opens up everything in gray and doesn't seem to recognize anything, and sometimes does work. Anyways, but yep, it does do exactly that. Return new float 0, 1, 0. All right, nice. Looks like Doom, where the character didn't have an idle animation, was using walking instead. Oh, is that the case? Do Doom characters not have idle? I guess they're always patrolling around, so that's nice. I didn't never thought about that, but yeah, I guess they move constantly, so yeah. Library written on Java rules. Yeah, I'm not sure where the rules come from, but yeah, it is basically, I read once that they made it so that it fits with other libraries that already exist and were super high performance, and they basically fit that naming scheme as opposed to continuing to use the Unity naming scheme. So that is a bit strange. Do you know you can iterate faster if you install the hot reload asset? I have heard of that asset and it does look really awesome, but I haven't yet seen it, so haven't yet used it myself. But yeah, it does. From what I saw on the asset store page, it does work quite well. Although, especially with dots, like I click and basically it just starts right away, and when I modify something, it recompiles in 1 or 2 seconds. So don't really necessarily need that much faster. Have you gotten into making editor tools? I did make a few. I mean, when I made the companion project for my C# course, for that one I made an entire editor tool. So yeah, thanks so much, the Quacks. Yeah, a bunch of new members on this live stream. That was fun. So when I made the editor tools for the C# course, yep, I used the UI toolkit to make a bunch of editor tools, and that actually did work quite well. So it worked surprisingly well. So that was quite fun. Yeah. Hello, thanks for your free C# course. Nice. I'm beginning the intermediate tutorial and I'm loving it. Ah, that is awesome. That is cool. I hope you'll learn a lot from it. Yeah. Where was I? How to give audio in Unity dots? That is a good question. I haven't yet researched that, so yeah, I'm curious to see that myself because yep, I haven't yet researched it, so I'm not entirely sure. And actually, let me just quickly add the animations, and adding the animations should be rather simple. I just need a refrw. What did I call it? The animation test. Okay, I still need to refactor the name on that one. But basically, I just need the animate test. I just need to get that one, and basically too far. So I want to move closer. So if I'm on this one, then I go into that one. .value animation type, and let me put marine walk. Which of course, then I'm going to have to refactor that. So close enough, stop moving. So on this one, let's go into marine idle. Okay, and just like this, it should actually be working. Boa tarde, saudações Brazil. Hey, thanks for being here. What time is it in Brazil? It's like -8 hours, I guess. So it's like 10 a.m. there right now. Nice. One thing I dislike about the ECS workflow is that it's slower compared to OOP and components. You have to write to many logic to do the same things, but performance is unmatched, of course. Yep, I definitely do find it that it has quite a bit more boilerplate code, quite a few more things. Okay, I just broke something out. Oh, right, because I put it on the other one, so I gotta fix the query. So yeah, I do find that it has quite a bit more boilerplate, so it does take quite a lot more code. So yeah, that is why the recommended process is a hybrid workflow. So basically use game objects for the things where a game object makes sense, and use dots for the things when you need absolute massive performance. So yeah, it's basically a very good thing that Unity kind of walked back on their initial goal, which was to make either a full game object or full dots. It's nice that over time they realized that the best workflow of all is just mix them, use one or the other depending on when it is necessary. So yeah, that actually is quite nice. Yeah, I was talking about where's my, oh, there it is. Yeah, so basically for all of the various things that I did for the companion project on my C# course, for all of this, for the election list, all the things, for all of the exercises, the quizzes, and so on. So let me select one. Like for example, select the one on variables, going on the FAQ. So all of these editor windows, these are basically custom tools, custom editor windows. So yeah, I basically built all of this. So how can you modify the value of a variable? By assigning a new value, by using the modify keyword, or by redeclaring? And the answer is by assigning a new value to the variable and so on. So basically all of this was made using UI Toolkit. And actually, if you have the companion project and you want to inspect, if you want, you can go over here inside of this folder, and you can go inside the editor folder, and over here you can see the various UI Toolkit. Like for example, let's say the one on the frequently asked questions, because this one is nice and simple. Just double click and up pops out the UI builder. So here it is, basically how the whole thing works in the UI builder. So this is the same thing as this one over here. So the UI builder, if you haven't used it yet for making editor tools, it is surprisingly easy. It only took me I don't know, a couple of hours watching some tutorial videos in order to figure out how to make it work. But yeah, UI builder is actually surprisingly easy to work, and then writing the code to run all of these things, it is also surprisingly easy. It does have one thing that I dislike, which is how it's based on strings. So, like for example, here I am creating the window. Okay, sure. Then creating the GUI, and basically just got to do a bunch of queries. So you can query on all kinds of types, like an object field, visual element, and so on. But then here's the part that I dislike about UI Toolkit, is how it has strings for doing queries. So that is a little bit annoying. But other than that, UI Toolkit is really awesome and surprisingly easy for making all kinds of editor tools. So yeah, that is what I've used, and it's actually quite nice. And just recently, I actually added this little window, chat with AI. So basically, this one is connected to the bot that is trained on the contents of the course. So you can basically chat with something, and this one is actually on the back end. The AI chatbot is using OpenAI. So I recently upgraded it to the new version, so GPT-4o. It's actually quite fun. So if I ask, what is the difference between delegates and events? Which is actually a question that a lot of people have asked me many times. A lot of people have this confusion between what are delegates and events. So I can basically ask the question, and then after a while, it returns the question. And this one, I'm guessing it's writing a ton of stuff, and that is why it's use OpenAI library to make the bot. Not really. I'm not sure if they have a C# library. So no, I just use normal. Basically, this goes onto my website, and my website does a curl request on the OpenAI thing, and then returns back and returns so on. So basically, this window over here is interacting with my website. My website is interacting with the OpenAI, and then so on. It goes kind of like that. So yeah. Difference between them. So delegates, definition. Delegate is the type that defines a method signature. Yep, that is correct. So here's an example. Public delegate, attack delegate. Yep, that is exactly correct. And then for events, there's all kinds of things. So yeah, the bot on GPT-4o is actually surprisingly good and quite fast. So that is actually quite nice. Seeing YouTubers with chatters walking on screen, how do you achieve this effect? I have a bunch of tutorials on the bottom of this page if you want to see. So go onto that page down here. So basically the characters down here, this is a transparent Unity window. The way they are being animated, these are mesh-based animations. And then the way that it is interacting with the YouTube API is through an HTTP request from Unity. And the randomization on all these characters is basically the same way that I handle the get sprite sheets in my game Battle Royale Tycoon, kind of like that. This response would take like 1 second on Llama 3. I guess that is going to, are you talking about on device? Because that is going to depend on the device of the person. And on this one, the main thing that over here on this window that takes a while is because basically I didn't implement streaming. So basically it just waits for the entire response to be generated before it does. So when it's a long response like this one, then yeah, it does take a few seconds. But if it is something short, then yeah, it takes like 1-2 seconds, and it actually goes quite well. And yeah. Does that mean we have to input our own API token? Nope, this one is using my website API token. And no, it's not really rate limited. I mean, I'm assuming that the people who pick up the C# course, they're actively trying to learn as opposed to trying to abuse the system. So maybe I'm a bit naive, but so far there haven't been problems with that. So if you have the premium version of the course, go ahead, ask whatever questions you want, and yeah, it shouldn't be rate limited, hopefully. Okay, let me just try to sort this out, which is actually going to be an interesting question. Like I was saying, sometimes when it comes to dots, you've got to think about various things that you can do. So basically the issue over here is that query is no longer working, so I can no longer move. And it's not this one. No, this is the other one. And basically the issue is because I added the animate test, but hey, good evening, hey. Basically the issue is that I added that one to the query, but for the visual, I added it to a child object. So now here's another question. How do I reference this? In terms of handling references, that is something that I still haven't yet figured out the best way to do it. I think the best way is really, this one has a unit authoring, but this one has, but all the other ones are actually going to have animation, right? Well, I guess I could make a, yeah, I guess that's what makes sense. So, okay, so let's make an animated mesh authoring. So I make an animated mesh authoring component, okay. And then I'm going to have a public animated mesh, a class, not a class, a struct. And this one is going to be iComponentData, okay. And on this one, I'm going to have a public entity for animated mesh entity. And that is the one that is going to have that component for that thing. So over here, a public game object for animated mesh game object. All right, and then I've got a public class. I'm going to have a class, a baker class, baker of animated mesh authoring, okay. And then on this one, so I'm basically going to entity equals get this entity, and this one is going to be transform.dynamic. Okay, and then I need to add the component, and adding the component on this entity, new animated mesh, and inside that animated mesh, inside for the animated mesh entity, get the entity, and the entity that I want is the authoring.animated mesh game object, and it's going to be dynamic. Okay, so yeah, like this. So basically I have this one has a reference to the other one. So now if I attach this component to that one, it should hopefully work. You prefer Visual Studio over Rider? Not necessarily any preference, just it's what I'm used to, it's what I've always used, and I don't really have any kind of thing against it. Animated mesh authoring, that's what I call it. So yeah, basically have no reason to switch, but from what I've heard, Rider is indeed awesome. So yeah, if you like using that, then definitely go ahead and use that. Okay. So that one has a reference to that one. So now over here on the unit mover system, instead of looking for that component, I can look for this component for the animated mesh. So this one, animated mesh. But now, yep, that's the thing. So now I need to go system API to get the component of type animated animate test. I still have to refactor that code to rename it. Get that one on the entity, that is the entity on animated mesh, value RO. Yeah, I'm not going to modify this one, so let's make this one a ref RO, ref RO. So I go inside that one and I get the animate mesh entity. Okay, so this returns the animate test. Wait, does this? Okay, now I'm trying to see, because there is another, yeah, there is a get component RW. So what does this return? Does it, yep. So returns a ref RW, animate test. Okay, awesome. So now I go into that one and I do that. And let me actually put this one up there. So I go into that one, I do that, and then I go into that one, I do that. All right, nice. So this should hopefully be working. So let's see. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Okay, they are idle and they are moving. Nice. Okay, so all that remains is having different animation speeds. So like the walking, that one needs to be like a fast animation, but the idle is not meant to be that fast. But yep, so I tell them to move, they run, and they get there. Oh, those are 0.5 because they are still, pushing each other. So I still have to reorganize that code to make it work in a different way so that they get to a point. Oh, look at that, and he's shooting. Not shooting for the weapon, so I still need to figure that out, but yeah. Remember, tool is as limiting as your knowledge. Yep, definitely IDEs are just tools. Rider is an awesome IDE from what I've heard, but just using an awesome IDE isn't necessarily going to make you better. It's really just a tool. So whatever you use, Rider, Visual Studio Code, whatever you do, what matters is really your own skill. So yeah, if you're a student, you can get all JetBrains products for free. Oh, is that true? That is nice. That is awesome. I did not know that. That is cool. I mean, I'm using Visual Studio has the community version that is always free. So that is the one that I normally encourage people to use. So yeah, Visual Studio Community is free, but yeah, Rider IDE. That one has a free day trial, and yeah, on education, I'm guessing they have free licenses for students and teachers. So yeah, that is nice for individual use and so on. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've heard lots of great things about it. So yeah, if you want to try out a different IDE, then definitely give Rider a try and see if you like it. All right, so yeah, some logic is indeed working. So I've got some dots entities. They are animated. They are walking around. It's kind of funny how as soon as you add some entities, all of a sudden it looks quite a lot better. So that's nice. Yeah, the units are moving a bit too slow, but yeah, let's attack that one. Boom, boom. Nice. Oh, I gotta move the health bar a little bit up. And why is that one not looking at the camera? It should be. Oh, because I didn't. Oh, that is going to be a tricky thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Because yeah, the health bar is looking at the camera, but due to how dots works, it does not handle the global rotation, only the local one. So that is why when it moves to the side, the health bar is no longer. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Oh, Jason Story's here. Oh, is he? Oh, hey Jason. Hey, how's it going? Can I go back since I started using it too many quality of life features? Yep. Yep, that's exactly what I've heard from yourself and many others from the from the game dev show. Many people talking about the benefits of Rider. So yeah. Yeah, I heard you were talking about working on a new video, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll launch that. It sounded interesting when you talked about on the game dev show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the new video. Little launcher. Yeah, the way that Jason mentioned in the live stream, how basically you have a bunch of hotkeys, so you don't have any icons, any kind of thing. I gotta say that does. In theory, it does appeal to me because my my desktop does get full with tons of icons, even though I try to make it as simple as possible. After a while, it just ends up with tons of mess. So yeah, learning how to use something with just shortcut, just things, that actually sounds really awesome. How is Tiku doing? Well, both of them are asleep right now. Although they will probably wake up in a little bit because it's already 6 p.m. So in a little bit, they will wake up and will be hungry. So yeah, just a little bit more. Where was I? So I was also doing some work on an idea for grids in Unity Video and rewatch your older grid videos for inspiration. That's nice, awesome. Yeah, I gotta say, grid system is something that is always useful. I've used grid systems in so many things, and it's something that is also. Although there is one thing about the, well, actually, it's not the grid system; it's the mouse position. Something that you mentioned on one of the live streams on how you can apparently use the plane class. Because like for my mouse script, I'm using a raycast in order to find the position. And I think you mentioned how you can use the Unity plane thing in order to get the intersection. I heard you mention it, but I'm not entirely sure on how it is. How do you get the... I guess that's it. I guess you do a raycast on a plane, outfloat, enter. So is that the... Oh, it's a distance. Okay, so I guess you take a raycast from the camera's position, you do a raycast, this returns the distance, and then you go inside the... isn't there a get position? Get distance to point? Or no? Get side? When do you get the... Is it translate? Okay, now I'm not sure. Because I assumed they would have a get position, some kind of thing, but... I want to cover the rare topics like compressing a large sparse grid with run left encoding using TRS matrices to do raycasting checks against without needing colliders. Wow, that sounds like a very complex thing. Yeah. You don't even need the plane class. I use that as an example. Yeah, I guess you can just use some math in order to figure out. I mean, you've got a ray. You want to see if it hits there. Where exactly does it hit? Then yeah, I guess you can just use some basic math and it. Oh crap! Why is my phone suspected spam? Well, that's not nice. Anyways. So yeah. Ray.getPoint. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, so the ray returns, the ray has a, yeah, exactly. It has a get point where you pass in distance and returns distance dot. So yeah, I guess instead of doing raycast, you can just do a plane in order to that. So it should be fun. Till now, do you think I can use Unity 6 Preview based on your experience in using it? And I want to work on Android with it because it has a lot of improvements for Android. It all depends on how far along you are from the release. If your game is coming out in like 1 or 2 months, then use the 22 LTS. Oh, that one now no longer works because it doesn't have the mesh. So if your game is coming out very soon, then stick with the 22 LTS. But if you are at least like 6 months away from release, then definitely, yeah, go ahead and upgrade to Unity 6. Because, I mean, at least from my research right now, it has been very stable. It hasn't crashed once. It hasn't had any issues. So it has actually worked quite well. I just got to know your channel. Oh, nice. Want to know if you have a tutorial about design patterns in Unity. Not necessarily, although I do have a lecture on it in my C# course. I don't remember if it's on the, I think it's on the intermediate one. On the, why isn't this finding? See now, YouTube search is so strange. Okay, so if I put C# inter, it doesn't show up. C# intermediate, it does show up. Okay, anyways, so yeah, sometimes YouTube search is very strange, but anyways, yeah. So here I have a rough thing where I talk about some design patterns in general and one on the singleton pattern. So I guess, let me skip this. Ah, crap, the ads, because I'm used to having premium when I'm logged in, but over here I'm not logged in, so yeah. So yeah, if you want to learn, then hopefully this lecture should help point you in the right direction. Okay, so let me just, oh, there are some units that are, yeah, this is something that I still have to figure out. Look at that. That is the issue, is that when they go idle, they're all constantly still trying to go to the same point, so I gotta add some stopping logic so that they stop moving. Otherwise, they move on top of one another. So if I try putting all of them, oh yeah, I can disable this one because I no longer need it. They all go into one place. and it all gets messed up. They get on top of each other because they're all trying to go to the same point, so it's all it's all messed up. Yeah, they're definitely fighting each other quite a bit. uh, oh, speaking of course, just want to say I 100% recommend CodeMonkey Scott. Oh, thanks, Jason. That's nice. Take all the ones I can so I know what to recommend. I think the Udemy Grid course by far my favorite unit. Oh, nice. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me just apply the visual to that guy right there and get rid of this one because I no longer need this one over here. Now this animate test. So the test was successful. So let me just, okay, so let me remember what do I need in order to make it work. Yeah, I should probably use some base prefab instead of trying to do it like this. But for now, let's put it like this. So let's go inside the unit prefab. And inside this one, let's paste down, which, okay, paste down the wrong place, but okay. And this one is actually going, oh, right, because I wanted to, yeah, this is the thing that I'm going to have to figure out. How am I going to change this? Okay, now I'm trying to remember where did I, yeah, because that is not the, was that? No, that wasn't the, okay, I'm trying to think. Because I've got this anime. I'm trying to think, what is the, how do I find the material that I was using? That one is white. Nope, it's not that one. It's not that one. Oh, well, I mean, I guess I have one of the various ones down here. Nope, that's not the scout. Is that the scout? Nope, that's not the scout. Is that the scout? That is the scout. Okay. So what is the material that I was using on this one? Material, this one, special forces. Okay, good. So let me just copy that one and then go inside the unit fast. And on this one, let me put that material and okay, now it looks good. All right, great. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to have to rework how am I going to have this animated mesh, because I think like this, it is going to be quite tricky. But if I open this one and I paste this one like that, the animated mesh just passed in that reference, and just like this, this one should be working, although it won't be working like that. So this is the part that I'm going to have to stop and think long and hard for a long time until I figure out what is the best course of action for this. Let me just hide these. That one and that one. Oh, there's still one more. This one? Oh crap, because I can't see it behind the characters. Why is there are two characters? Why are there two characters here? Okay. Why is this? Okay, I'm not sure where this character is coming from. Because sometimes if you create an entity that only exists as an entity, it doesn't select anything on the hierarchy. So if I click on that one, it doesn't select anything here. So is that an, let me unload and reload. Okay, it vanished. So it was a zombie entity that stayed behind and did something. Okay, anyways. So yeah, so that one should be working, but yeah, exactly. It's going to be using still that one, which is a different mesh. So, yeah, ghost object, very spooky. Oh, hey, Phil, it's you. Oh, hey, how's it going? Right, so basically, is this the best course of action? Basically just having a component, and that component contains all the references to all the meshes and all the animations. On the one hand, I don't like it, but on the other hand, I can't think of a better way to do it, because again, on dots, you don't really have lists of things. So, and I don't think using a dynamic buffer would be best. I mean, technically a batch mesh ID, this one is really tiny, so I don't think it would be an issue if I've got like 100 of these. It's literally just a uint value. So in theory, it would not necessarily be a terrible thing if I had 100 of these, although I guess, One thing that I haven't yet is the shared components. I haven't seen those in quite a while. Shared components. So maybe that's it. Maybe I do a, would this be the case for blob asset data? Can a blob asset data have, I haven't looked into blob assets much yet, so I'm not entirely sure. But so a blob asset creates a, so basically you can create a blob asset and then have a reference to that blob asset, but I think that would kind of end up being the same thing, although maybe a little bit more. That is part of why I'm squarely on dots. Friction is a productivity killer, and I don't want to have to derail every time I have to learn how to solve existing problems. Yep, that is, I mean, that is definitely an issue with trying something that is very new, which is, yeah, if I was making if I was making an RTS game using normal game objects, then yeah, I would be I would be done with this prototype by now. Having to learn how to do many things new, it does had quite a lot of friction, quite a lot of things, but at the same time, the benefits are supposedly really awesome. So I'm hoping that when this game is done and working, I'm hoping that it won't, because it's based on dots, it won't allow me to make different designs as opposed to what I could do just based on game objects. So it adds quite a bit more friction, quite a bit more, takes quite a while to build because I have to relearn how to do things, but hopefully the bonuses at the end will be quite useful. So yeah. Would you use queries instead of empty jobs? Just because I'm still making the prototype, so I haven't converted anything into jobs yet, so everything is still just normal empty queries. But yep, eventually when everything is working exactly as I want it to, then yep, then I will go refactor all of these systems in order to make them work with systems, in order to make them work with jobs, to make them as performant as I can make them. So, but yeah, so essentially, yeah, this one, well, let me just do it manually right now, and then I'll refactor the code once I figure out a better way to do it. But let me just try doing a, so scout idle invoke also has the same thing. So let me do a scout idle 0 and 1 and scout walk 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And up here, same thing. So a scout idle 0 and 1, scout walk 0, 1, 2, 3. So with that, it won't work, but the, so let me make a bunch of them. So basically going to have the idle 0, idle 1, walk 1, walk 2. Wait, did I miss one? Yeah, I'm missing the 0. The walk 0, okay. So yeah, I really doesn't like the fact that it has a huge amount of stuff, but technically it might work. Cooking fitness channel win. That would be fun. I mean, if I had infinite amount of time, I would love to do a bunch more channels to have basically excuses to do all kinds of interesting hobbies. That would definitely be fun. How are you finding it so far? It's been nice. I'm kind of with the series does give you insight to more lower level stuff. I know learning completion made me understand value types more. It has, I mean, the main challenge has been figuring out what parts should be dots and what parts should be normal game objects. Like in the beginning, for the first iteration that I was using, for handling the level selection, I was using a dot system, and I was finding that was needlessly complex, having to work with, because I was also doing the raycast in order to find the mouse wheel position, so I was having to mix the dots with the mono behavior wheel and so on. So that was being confusing until I simply made it a, I don't know, a rough rule, a rough guideline. Okay, things that involve tons of units, like for example, each individual unit for the moving, shooting, and so on. Okay, that makes sense to be dots based. But for other things like the selection, I mean, the selection is only, I'm only going to select units like once per second. So it makes no sense for that one to be a dots thing. So in the beginning, I made a unit selection thing, but then I just made a regular mono behavior to handle the things. So yeah, that was the main thing that I've learned as I'm making this prototype, is trying to get a better idea of what should be dots based, what should be game objects based. Because yeah, that seems like the main question for trying to build a project the correct way using a nice hybrid approach. And yeah, I've tried looking for best practices, but yeah, there's still not much around. So yeah, basically I'm going in blind, trying to do all kinds of things, trying to figure out what is the best way to do them. And yeah, so it's been a nice learning journey. But other than that, by following that guideline, things have been going quite well. So I'm quite enjoying it. It's been quite fun. Okay, let me just actually scout idle 0, scout idle 1, then the walk 0, the walk 1, the walk 2, and the walk 3. Then I'm going to need the different over here. So I got the marine walk, got the scout idle, and the scout walk. But now this is going to be the big issue, right? Yep, that is going to be the big issue. Because I need an animation type and an animation individual. So this is why it's going to be, or not. Okay. Okay, so I think I just figured out how I might make this work. So this one is actually the same. So the scout idle also has 2 frames, and the scout walk also has 4 frames. Okay, but yeah, all of this has to be different. So this is the part that is definitely quite annoying, quite tricky, a lot of copy-paste code. So I really got to figure out a better way to do this. But so the scout idle 0, the scout idle 1, and then I've got the scout walk 0, walk 1, walk 2, and walk 3. Scout walk 3 and scout walk 2. Okay, so that one, it should be working, but now I need to figure out when it's a scout and when it is not a scout, and I think that I already have that on the unit. So if I go on the, where do I want to go? On the unit mover. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the enemies also have the units, so if I do a refro of type unit, I'm pretty sure on that one, so refro of type unit for the unit. And if I grab that unit, I'm pretty sure inside of it, LRO, I do have a unit type. Okay, nice. So let me get an animate test.animation type, idle animation type, and got another one for the walk animation type. And then I do a switch on this unit type that I have. And by doing that, so basically right now I've got soldiers, and I've got the other one. The other one is the fast. Okay. So the fast, the idle equals that one dot the scout idle, and the scout walk. So that's the walk. And for this one, for the idle equals this one, the marine idle, and the marine walk. And this is the walk animation type. Okay. So now over here, instead of setting that one, I set it to that one. And instead of setting down, I set it to down. Just need to make sure to add a default to make it work. And okay. All right, so I think like this, it should be work. Well, that's what problem you're solving. I'm trying to solve the problem of having the animations be different for each unit type. So right now, that one was playing the same animation with different material, but now I want them to play different animations. So that one should play the scout, and this one should play the marine. And right now, it should be working. No, it's not. Okay, why did that one vanish into thin air? I don't know. Where did that unit go? Okay. Okay, let me go inside. Why did that one vanish? Because it is changing. Did I not register? Oh, why are they all? I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be all at 0. Pretty sure that means invalid. So did the baker not run? No, it should have run. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out why is this one not... Because that one is not registering the meshes. Did I not add the meshes? I did. Okay, what? Didn't I? Did this not update? Did it reset something? Oh, did I leave that one on? Ah, crap. Okay, that's why. Because I left... Wait, no. No, that is not why. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure. Because I thought it was regenerating the animations, but nope, the scout idle, these animations are still here. So that wasn't, so apparently this one just lost the references for some inexplicable reason. I'm not sure why, but yep, apparently this one just lost the references. Okay, so let's try dragging them again. I have no idea why this one vanished, but let's see if now. Set that one, go back outside. Do you have the references? Side down, okay, it does. Okay, so let's see. Yay, it works, nice. Or does it work? It does, but did I put it the, yeah, I put it the wrong way around. Yeah, so it does work, but I put it the wrong way around. So the idle is being the walking, and then they are idle. So let me just swap that out. But yep, it did indeed work. So so this one is not the idle, this one is the walk, and this one is the idle. All right, awesome. Okay, so I think it is working. Let's try it out and see. Okay, so these are idle, and yep, that one, it is indeed working. So that one is the idle scout animation. So the scout has a little pistol, that one has a little AK, and as I move, yep, that one is playing the marine walk animation, and as I move this one, yep, it is playing the scout walk animation. It's quite silly to have such low frame rate animations, but I think it looks a little bit fun. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to add more frames or leave it sort of like this, very, very sort of like that. But yeah, it does. Oh, yeah, and is he gonna die? No, don't die. Oh, he killed my scout. That sucks. Oh man. Yeah, sorry, I totally missed chat while I was reading that. I can podcast fun, but I find it impossible to work live at all. Yeah, I gotta say, I definitely, right now I'm actually getting a bit better at that, a bit better at being able to write some code, do some work whilst being live on stream. But yeah, I remember the first few live streams that I did, yeah, I did feel inside a pretty intense sense of panic, feeling a bunch of people watching me and I'm trying to write code and something doesn't work. That was definitely very stressful, but yeah, as with so many things, it is something you gain with experience. And so far nowadays, I can just focus a little bit better. So yeah, that does work quite a little bit. Are you selling all the meshes on a render mesh array? I'm not manually, but I think that by registering them, they do register automatically. Does this? Oh, that one was killed. That's why it doesn't show up. But yeah, on that one. So basically, I'm using this. Where is it? There it is. So basically, I'm going into default world, getting the entities graphic system, and then from that one, calling it to register the mesh. And I believe that is a similar method to setting it on the mesh array. So basically, it renders all of the meshes, and yeah, over here on the, yeah, exactly. Or no, it does. Yeah, it's just this one doesn't have, only has those. But yeah, I believe by calling this function to what is this? This one to register the mesh, I believe that one registers it over here on the render mesh array. So yep, it does that, and then swapping out all the meshes, and yep, there you go. Here is some basic animation, and it does work. And I've got the animation for the different characters. All right, so now I got to figure out the animation for the for the zombies. I got to figure out some kind of visual for that. But yeah, it is working. So I've got this marine unit right here. So that one is working with the walk and the idle animation, and same thing for this one, the walk and the idle animation. And yeah, so he walks around, gets there, stops, and does some idle thing. And yeah, nice. All right, cool. You always prefer light mode in your IDE. Yep, I can't really stand looking at dark mode at all. If I put this on dark mode, I'm gonna go blind within a few seconds. So yep, for me it has to be in light mode all the way. But yeah, I do know some people dislike that. I wish I could use light mode myself, but then have like the viewer have some kind of dynamic thing on YouTube where you could switch if you wanted to see it in light mode or dark mode. Would be nice if such a thing existed, but nope. Videos are fixed, so if I record in light mode, then you have to watch in light mode. So sorry for those of you that prefer dark mode, but yeah, it has to be like that. That concept is kind of hard, isn't it? It requires a different level of thinking. So it's a little bit harder. It requires a bit more code to achieve the same thing, but it is not necessarily insanely difficult, just requires a different mindset. But if you get a different mindset, then getting it, it does work actually relatively all right. I just registered on Steamworks and shows 30% withhold tax. So on top of the 30% Steam cut, I have to pay an additional 30%. Is this normal? That depends on what country you're from, because basically different countries have, I think it's called like double tributation laws, something like that, or not laws, accords, deals, something like that. So basically, Portugal and the US has one of those deals. So yeah, for me, after submitting the correct forms, they put the withholding tax at 0% because Portugal and the US has a deal like that. So yeah, basically you have to figure out how to. You have to figure out if your own country has something like that. But yeah, hopefully it does have. I mean, the US has deals with pretty much every country. So yeah, hopefully it won't take away 30% extra because yeah, if they take away 60%, that does become quite a bit trickier. Yeah. You could have a blob asset which has an array of a struct which contains 2 array of mesh IDs. Oh, nice. These structs have the index of the unit type in them. Oh, nice. Yeah, I definitely do have to research blob assets because I haven't looked into them much. I know a rough idea of what they're used for, and yeah, I do guess for this system they would make sense as opposed to having just a giant list of fields. So yeah, this is definitely something that I will have to research because it might indeed be the perfect tool for exactly this. Can you show us a high level of how you solve that again? I mean, basically for the animations are just swapping different meshes. So since dots does not have any skin mesh render, in order to handle the animations, you can't just have a skin mesh render. It won't. Actually, I didn't test it, but I'm pretty sure just putting a skin mesh render won't animate by default. So yeah, for handling the animation, just swapping out the meshes. And the way that it works is basically on the unit. The unit has an authoring component, which has a reference to all the meshes. So here are all the meshes, and then over here on this component, it basically takes all those meshes, goes inside the entity's graphic system, and registers the meshes. This is required so that the entity's renderer knows what mesh to render. Because over here, this type batch mesh ID, this one is really just a number. It doesn't actually store the mesh itself. So basically it registers the mesh, and in doing so, it matches a certain mesh object with a certain uint value. So it matches those things together, and then you save just that uint value. And then for modifying the mesh, it's over here on this system that I have over here, which is this thing, the material mesh info. This is something from the Unity dots rendering. And then just over here doing some simple logic for counting down the animation rate. Then counting up the frames. Then depending on what animation is selected, as either 2 frames or 4 frames in this case. And then just looping back in order to make sure to not go over to some invalid frames. And then for swapping the mesh, just as this, goes inside the material mesh info, grabs the value RW in order to write, writes the mesh ID with what is on the batch mesh ID, and that basically swaps out the mesh. So basically that's how it works. Register the mesh, swap out the meshes, and it has some interesting mesh animation. So yeah. Look up material property overrides. It won't work for the mesh index, but it lets you set per instance shade of values in burst code. All you have to do is set the component. Oh, interesting. I did remember using material property overrides like a real long time ago when I was first getting into dots, and that was the way to do it. But I haven't looked at it right now, so I'll have to see that because, yeah, I mean, eventually the goal is to convert this. So first of all, I'm just trying to get it working, and then after I have it working, then I will want to update this into some into jobified code. And yeah, at that point, I guess I'll look into all those options using a material property, using a blob asset, and maybe with that, it should work. So you can't use normal 3D models and dots in animated. Not right now, not by default. By default, dots right now does not have any animation toolset, so you either have to build your own, kind of like I'm doing here, or you can go inside the asset store, and there's a bunch of dots animation systems. These are all based on using shaders that modify the vertices. So yeah, you can either use this or build your own, which is kind of what I'm doing here. Why don't you create mobile games? Just because I don't normally play mobile games, that is roughly the idea. I mean, mobile is a completely different world from PC, Steam. And in order to make good games, you have to actually play the games that you want to make. So for me, since I don't normally play mobile games, yeah, it makes more sense to... I play PC games and I make PC games because it's the thing that I know, but Yeah, although in general, if you know how to make PC games or mobile games, you can easily make one or the other. In terms of game design, in terms of monetization, you have to learn a lot of different things, but the technical aspect, if you know one, you know the other. So if you want, you can definitely go into both those. Can you explain why all the assets I chose from the Unity assets or? Oh, Jason answered. So yeah, it has to do with the render pipeline. So basically, when you create a brand new project, yeah. So basically, pink means shader error. So if you're seeing a bunch of pink, that is probably because you're not using the render pipeline asset that matches with whatever asset you bought. I'm guessing whatever asset you bought is using the universal render pipeline. But over here, when you create the project, you probably use one of these two. And these two are using the built-in render pipeline. And if the assets are using URP or AGRP shaders, then it won't show up in pink if you use this. So either you need to manually install the universal render pipeline or AGRP on your project, or create a brand new project and make sure to pick the correct one. So it's actually something really awesome how if you select Unity 6, and now by default, it is always going to default into URP or AGRP, and you have to actively go looking for the built-in run pipeline. So I think this one change alone is actually going to be really awesome. It is going to prevent many of those issues. Because yeah, I do see a lot of those comments. Why are my assets in pink? And the answer is because when creating a brand new project, people just default to the default option, which defaults into the built-in run pipeline. So yeah, the fact that Unity 6 will default into URP and AGRP, hopefully that will actually lead to a lot fewer confused people, which is always nice. Oh, not a super chat. Hey, no, thanks. Is there anything that Rider offers that VS does not? I mean, Jason probably is a better person to answer that. Because I'm not sure. I know Rider has tons and tons of features, but then again, so does Visual Studio, which honestly, I don't really use that many features. I use it as just a normal code editor. Like I know it has tons of like things for analyzing your code, doing all kinds of code analysis. I know Visual Studio has a massive amount of features, but really I use it as just a code editor, just writing it. So yeah, for me, I really just use it super simple, but I do know that Rider does have quite a lot of extra features. So I definitely encourage you to look at it because apparently it is free for education and those things. So yeah, definitely try it out and then we'll see. Okay, so yeah. It's already 6:40, so yeah, let me just mainly heavy Unity integration. For example, it shows the value select. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, that is useful, yeah. So you don't get those annoying serialization mistake variable issues when you are confused why it doesn't change, yeah. That is useful, yeah. Having sometimes where you mouse over and it shows you what it shows, what the value is set in the editor, yeah, I guess that integration can be indeed quite helpful, yeah, nice. I guess for me, I'm so used to, I know where my data lives in general. I know what type of data I normally write in the editor and what type I normally do. So for me, I don't normally have that issue, but yeah, I guess for people who don't know why they're modifying something and doesn't show, then yeah, having just something that shows you, okay, you are modifying this field in the editor, so whatever you write here in the code does not matter. Yeah, that would definitely help solve quite a lot of frustration. Also shows what scripts are used in that in what scene. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that one. That does sound quite useful. Nice. So can you copy your soldier 1,000 times now without slowdown? That's a good question. Why don't we try it? I'm guessing this is not going to go well, but so yeah, basically, so the spawning should be working. So let me just see. Okay, so the spawning is working. Where did I put? No, I don't remember where did I put the spawning logic. I think I put it on a scriptable object. Or nope, I didn't. Nope. Okay, so where did I put that? Now I gotta remember how did I set this up? So it's on the building barracks. Is it on the barracks that I hard coded the value? No, I put it, yeah, I put it on the, oh, on the building barracks component. Wait, on the component? Where did I? Oh, never mind. It's on the NT's reference. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's where it is. except, oh, all right, so I hard-coded it in here. Okay, so instead of taking 5 seconds, if I put it on 0.1, will this now take just 0.1 second to generate one? Let's see. So I placed down some barracks, I selected, I go, and there you go, every 0.1. Okay, nice. So now let me go onto the building barrack system. And for each one that's, or I guess let me try playing around with the UI instead. Okay, so let's see this. So let's go inside the barracks UI. And over here, I'm using a dynamic buffer in order to do that. So I'm doing an and, so for int I equals 0, let's go 100. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, I get the feeling this is going to be quite messy, but let's see if it works. Okay, so basically now I can place some barracks, and when I put it, it is going to... All right. I mean, okay, let's see the... Where do I see how many units? The NT count. What do I want? Where do I see the units? Yeah, I guess they also have... Yeah, but they only go into the same place because they're... Okay, now spawn a whole bunch of them. So, yeah. Yeah, they're all going into a pile, all going to the exact same place. Just keep spawning more and more units. Oh, it's interesting. So if I hide the UI, it's actually fine. But if I should... Oh, never mind. Yeah, because the UI... I totally forgot. Yeah. So that performance issue is probably because the UI is super massive. Let's actually look at the UI. Where's the UI? Oh, God. I can't even move it. Can let me pause it? Why? Oh, because I've hidden the UI here. Building barracks. Okay, yeah. That's the issue. All of those, yeah, all of these sprites for the units being being queued, that is why this is being quite slow, yeah. If I deselect, then it does work like that. But if I select that one, yeah, still a massive queue. Okay. So, but yeah, like this, it's running at 25. I wonder what is the main thing. Kevin, can I open up the... Does the profiler help in seeing something? So the profiler is having some spikes. What are these spikes? What is taking half a second? Oh, it's the editor. Okay, well, that makes sense. But now it's the player and it's generating some garbage on the simulation system group and on the render pipeline. Really, the render pipeline is generating some garbage. The rendering the camera stack. Oh, define target. I know, but it is not generating, but it is... Okay, interesting. So now, so I guess what someone a while ago was saying about physics queries being slow, I guess maybe that is the thing. So yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, keep in mind that over here I'm not using any... Wait, spawn them all. Nice. So... Is it 600 units? Because this one says 4,000. Oh, because I guess each of them has different things. So yeah. But if I disable the define target system, can't I disable the system? Is it over here? Yeah, there you go. If I disable that one, so basically the physics queries, well, I mean, I guess they have to be optimized using jobs, because right now I'm pretty sure that it's running a physics query for each of them. But yeah, if not, then over here it is spawning tons and tons of units. All of them go into a pile because they all go into the exact same position as all of them. So I can click them individually to move them away, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that if it was using game objects right now, it would already be quite slow. So yeah, just in this quick little demo, it does showcase all kinds of interesting things. So yeah. So yeah, it does work. Tons of units, tons of stuff. Spawning units, spawning things. Yeah, good for a zombie game. Yeah, exactly. Dots is perfect. So the goal is on the final game to try out and see just how many units are going to be supported. How many zombies can I get? I mean, the inspiration for this is very much the steampowered.com is very much they are villains. You have something against the var keyword. I wouldn't necessarily say against, just because that sounds very very negative, but personally, I am not a fan of it. So I'm not a fan because of how it uh, hides away the types that I'm using. So generally, I don't like that's actually something that I dislike on the Unity on their code samples. They use var quite a lot, and sometimes it can make sense. Like over here, okay, sure. So I can see var. This one is going to be of type blob builder, but there are many times, like for example over here, this one var result, and it's a result of this function. What does this function return? I have no idea. So that is why it doesn't like var. Like just looking at this code, I have no idea what object, what type this is going to return. So I have no idea what this is. Is this a boolean? Is it a blob builder? Is it a blob asset? Is it something like that? So yeah, I don't like how var eliminates things. So I can understand in things like this, but when it's something like calling a function and it is not immediately clear as to what exactly it's going to return, that is where I really dislike using var, because I find that it just makes the code much more confusing, needlessly confusing. So there's no benefit. It just becomes quite a bit more confusing. So that is why, personally, I'm not a fan of var, but as you can see here, Unity themselves, they like var. A lot of people like using var. So if you like it, go ahead and use it. But me, personally, I like my code to be as explicit as possible. I want to know for certain what type I'm using with, so what type I'm working with. So that is why, personally, I normally do not use var, but yep, over here, they do like using it. So if you like using it, then definitely go ahead and use it. What's your batching looking like? Good question. I assume it's all nicely batched or not. I never know which one. Okay, so right now it's not being batched. Is that the case? I'm trying to think if okay, so I guess this is why I'm going to have to use the material and property block, because I'm guessing that is why these, but the meshes should be shared. So that's an interesting one. Yeah, definitely something that I will have to research and see exactly how it's going to how does it batch things? Like, why is it not batching anything? I would guess that at least the ones that are on the same frame would be batched. Or maybe I just need to enable some kind of thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, so definitely something. Slight instancing on the material. Oh, good question. Is that not enabled? Where's my material? I gotta find my material. So I got a ton of stuff on this project. Is it not instanced? Nope. Enable it, but nope, did not change. What about, yeah, the other one doesn't have. So frame profiler, does the frame profiler show something? Wait, yeah, the so you got the UI. Oh, rendering the background. Yeah, but it is, I never know how to work with this, but I'm pretty sure this means that it is being batched, right? Does the frame debugger have some kind of deprofile or something? Because over here, it does seem like it is being batched, like it is rendering all of these, and then another group, and then another group, and so on. So it does seem like it is being batched here. So I'm not sure why that one over here doesn't say it, but it seems like it. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll definitely have to. SRP batching is not relevant here. The stats window is wrong, basically. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's look in the just the regular profiler on the rendering down here. What does this guy say? This one does say 1.3K draw calls, something like that. But the so yeah, not sure. Definitely gonna have to research this quite a bit, but yeah, I might have to use the material property block in order to make it render properly. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll have to figure that out. It's been a fun break from work, but I should get back to my own. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for being here. Should have a chat at some stage. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I've met Andrew when it was at GDC, but I don't think I've met you. So yeah, that would be fun. So someday. So yeah, bye. Enjoy your work. Okay, yeah, and I'm gonna have to be going as well since it's almost 7 p.m. and my dogs are starting to wake up, starting to be a little bit fidgety. But still, this was a successful live stream. So I wanted to research how to do some physics queries, look at the trigger logic, and it did work. Because if I go over here on what we did in the beginning of this live stream, so yeah, turns out that doing triggers is actually surprisingly simple. Go inside the simulation singleton, grab the trigger events or the collision events, then do a for each through all of them, and apparently that works. So that was much easier than I thought it would be. And then for handling the animations, yep, the core basic idea. I still have to try a different other approaches, but the core idea is indeed working. So yeah. Right. Okay, so let me stop this, and thanks again. And now for the super chat, then thank you all so much for being here. I hope you found this interesting, and let me just put it like that, and that will be it. Put that, and yeah. There's no dynamic or static batching for dots rendering. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that topic to see what exactly is going wrong, if something is going wrong. So I don't know, I'll definitely have to look into that. Okay, yeah. Was the music even playing? Did the music stop? Oh, I guess my my music stopped a long time ago and I didn't even notice. Anyways, okay, so let me put that one into that one and that one. All right, so yeah, thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you maybe next week, something like that. Didn't know there was supposed to be music. There was, but apparently crashed a while ago, so anyways, okay, so yeah, have a great rest of your day, week, whatever, and I will see you next time. All right, so bye everyone, bye.